Well, yes, it's regrettable, but if we put it in context, over the Christmas, we had a very successful deployment. And then the last 10 days, there appears to be an upsurge of a different kind of armed robbery. Not because it's not armed robbery, but its targets are different. What we had in the beginning, when we set up, was armed robbery, highways and domestic homes and what have you. Now we've seen in the last 10 days, there's been an upsurge of, money joints. And then yesterday, there was that daytime activity. So clearly, we've lost control at all. What we're doing is making sure that we follow the leads. The police are following the leads. You realize that with the other robberies, we've got 7 suspects. And yesterday's one, we've got 2 that we are working on. To put things in context, you see, some people were wondering why we're not confronted yesterday in traffic. You want to have a successful operation without loss of innocent lives. Moving forward, as Mr. President has made it clear, part of the retooling that we are doing for the police would include helicopters. If we had that yesterday, it just flies over and gives us control. But some people thought, why don't you confront them right in the traffic? If you did that, and you hit one innocent person dead, then you got it messed up. So now we've got 2 people who are leading the investigation, assessing the investigation. But certainly it's regrettable that that thing has happened. But we continue to make the point that it's a cumulative neglect, which we are rectifying now. As I talk to you now, the president's promise is not empty at all. We are trying to procure. And some of these things, probably we should advise us.
Including helicopters, you say?
Yes.
Wow,
the president.
How soon will that happen?
Now, that's what I'm saying, that we are commencing procurement. Maybe these things should advise the kind of procurement we should do.
Policing doctrine and philosophy, as Paul and I are saying, cannot occur without a national security framework, which we don't have, which we've bandied about, we've spoken about. Different ministers have intimidated us, intimidated our friends in the military who thought, we had to have this philosophy. So there's a certain political lacuna in understanding how security management and policy making must be done. Then we have securocrats, both on the civilian side and on the uniform side, looking at issues of crime service. Until we do this crime service, and probably I should go to the bank and borrow some money, and we should do this service and then sell it to government. Well, I just don't get it. So regular crime service and publication and audits demonstrating what is changing and how things are going. Then we need to certainly improve, Paul, our small arms legislation.
Yeah.
Ancient, not fit for purpose. Totally. And then evaluations. Paul will tell you, I don't know how many of these 33,000 officers have a contract that says this is what you need to achieve at the end of the year. Okay, so we've got to bring in public, management strategies. And then we need to be able to assess the impact of all these things that we've put into the basket, shaking it and throwing it on the table.
In the wake of the mayhem unleashed by the hoodlums, the NDC called on President Akufo-Addo to immediately disband and demobilize the Invisible Forces, Delta Force, and other militant groups operating under the MPP. President Akufo-Addo could not be bothered and took no action to stem the creeping lawlessness and insecurity. Instead, the president has rewarded them by integrating many of these criminal elements into national security. In fact, we are reliably informed that members of these militant groups have recently undergone training at a camp at a sanctuary belonging to the military. We are further informed that the instructors include 2 South African mercenaries who were deported from the country in 2016 in the run-up to the general elections. In the midst of this extremely frightening security situation, the president prefers to globetrot, rub shoulders with world leaders, and deliver speeches of doubtful importance, and is yet to utter a word of comfort to scared Ghanaians. It is almost as if Ghana has no leader. All this is happening at a time when President Akufo-Addo has set up the most heavily populated security architecture, comprising the National Security Minister, Minister in charge of National Security, Minister of Interior, Minister of Defense, National Security Advisor, National Security Coordinator, Director of Presidential Security, Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, Director of BNI, Director of Defense Intelligence, Director of Research, amongst others. He failed to act at the very onset of his administration when a police officer was assaulted at the presidency.
The hallmark of democracy is for us to speak with one another. That is why we wrote to them to appear before us, for us to start the conversation. We've been holding this conversation, as was told us not too long ago, and this is furtherance to such communication and such conversations. And that is the last time we didn't ask for a 2-week notification. But this time around, we are not just asking for a 2-week notification. We are asking that they report to us in 2 weeks and give us specifics as to what we required and demanded in close meeting. And that will assure members that the assurances offered in our meeting today, at least there are signs of it. We have seen them. We know that the security services is logistically challenged, but when it comes to push, they demonstrate their show of force. We have demanded such of them. We have to tell the criminals of our state, virtually we are living in a crime state. Every now and then you are hearing reports of criminology, and it is not just in Ghana, but my concern is focused in Ghana. If you try and put your lenses around us, you see what is happening around us. That is one of the things that give me consolation, that within my country, I want it at least to the barest minimum of crime. And that is what we have demanded for.
The Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, convened an emergency meeting of all heads of security agencies, service commanders, and ministers responsible for the interior, defense, national security, and also the senior minister to deliberate on the recent spate of robberies in our country. Number 1, Operation Calm Life, which is the joint anti-armed robbery, military, and police operations, has been enhanced with immediate effect. In this regard, there will be heavy military and police presence in our major cities across the country starting from today. Number 2, there will be surgical operations in certain areas of our country based on intelligence, whose purpose shall be to flush out criminals and suspected criminals. There will be enhanced surveillance on financial institutions, forex bureaus, and money vending points across our cities. Government also directs that all financial institutions take steps to install CCTV cameras on their premises. Government will roll out a program to link all these CCTV cameras to a national operational command center. Number 5, the Ministry of Energy has been directed to accelerate the pace of its cities and communities lighting program in order to light up our cities and communities, especially crime-prone areas.
I want to assure the general public that the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is fully apprised of developments and what is going on, in constant contact with him, and the recent spate of armed robberies, which are of concern to everybody, is of concern to him. And this is why we are taking the measures that we are taking to restore, the stability and security of this nation. We ask for the cooperation of the general public as we, under the security forces, undertake these operations. And inshallah, they will be successful. We will make sure that every resource is provided for successful. Ghana, we are known for our peace and stability, and we are going to make sure we maintain that. We pray to Allah to give us and continue to give us peace and stability in Ghana and allow the country to move forward. And so we are here to thank everybody and to say we thank God. Salamu alaikum.